But Yahuwah is truly Elohim. He is the living Elohim and the everlasting sovereign. At his wrath, the earth shakes, and nations are unable to stand his displeasure. Say to them this: the foreign mighty one that did not make the shamaym and the arats shall perish from the arats and from under these shamaym. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom and has stretched out the shamaym by his understanding. When he makes his voice heard, there is a roaring of the ma'im in the shamaym, and he makes vapors rise from the ends of the arats, or earth. The lightnings for rain he has made, and breathe wind from his treasures. Yahusha 10, verses 10 to 14. Rumaim, or Romans 8, verse 22. For we know that all the creation groans together and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now.
In my distress I called upon Yahuwah, and to my Elohim I cried. He heard my voice from his call, and my cry went before him into his ears.
Matthew 24, verse 7 to 8. For nation shall rise against nation, and reign against reign, and there shall be scarcities of food, and deadly diseases, and earthquakes in places. And all these are the beginning of birth pains.
And the earth shook and trembled, even the foundations of the mountains were troubled, and they shook, because he was wroth. Revelation 6, verse 12. And I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and saw a megas, seismos, a great earthquake came to be.
Genesis 1 verses 14 to 16. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the shamaym to separate the yom from the lila, and let them be for signs and appointed times, and for umeim and shanim. And let them be for lights in the expanse of the shamaym to give light on the earth. And it came to be so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the yom, and the lesser light to rule the lila and the stars. Isaiah 34 verse 44. And all the appointed times of the shamaym shall rot away. And the shamaym shall be rolled up like a scroll, and all their company fade like a leaf fading on the vine, and like the fading one of a fig tree. Psalm 18 verses 8 to 10. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and consuming fire from his mouth, and coals were kindled by it. And he bowed the shamaym, or heavens, and came down. And thick darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and he flew upon the wings of the wind.
Matthew 24 verse 29. And immediately after the distress of those days the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the shamaym, or heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Acts 2 verse 19. And I shall show wonders in the shamaym above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and splendid Yom of Yahuwah.
Revelation 6 verses 12 to 13.
And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of the heaven fell to the earth or earth, as a fig tree drops its unripe figs, being shaken by a strong wind.
He made darkness his covering. Around him his booth, darkness of waters, thick clouds of the skies. From the brightness before him, his thick clouds passed, hail and coals of fire.
Revelation or Chazun 6, verse 14. And shamaym departed like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place.
And Yahuwah thundered in the heavens, and the Most High sent forth his voice, hail and coals of fire. And he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and much lightning, and confused them. And the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were uncovered at your rebuke, O Yahuwah. The blast of the breath of your nostrils.
Luke 21, verse 25 to 26. And there shall be signs in the sun, and moon, and stars, and the earth, anxiety of nations, in bewilderment at the roaring of the sea, and agitation. Men fainting from fear and the expectation of what is coming on the earth, for the powers of the shamaym shall be shaken.
He sent from above, he took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from those hating me, for they were stronger than I.
Haggai 2 verses 6 to 7a. For thus said Yahuwah of armies, once more, in a little while, and I am shaking the heavens and earth, the sea and dry land. And I shall shake all the nations.
Chazun 6, verses 15 to 17. And the sovereigns of the earth, and the great ones, and the rich ones, and the commanders, and the mighty, and every slave, and every free one, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him sitting on the throne, and from the rod of the Lamb, because the great yom of his rod has come, who is able to stand.
Doors already been opened. We believe they've already been opened. And even as the woman with birth pains, as her contractions get closer, as time draws nearer, they intensify. Let us look at some examples that some believe may have been the seals being opened. The Lisbon earthquake of 1975. Now, the Lisbon earthquake, also known as the Great Lisbon earthquake, impacted Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula, and Northwest Africa on the Bukar of Saturday, 1st of November. In combination with subsequent fires and a tsunami 50 feet high, the earthquake almost completely destroyed Lisbon and adjoining areas. Seismologists, doesn't that word sound familiar? From megas seismos, the Greek term for the great earthquake in Revelation. Well, these seismologists estimate the Lisbon earthquake had a magnitude of 8.5 or greater on the moment magnitude scale, with its epicenter in the Atlantic Ocean, about 200 kilometers, even to parts of the Caribbean. Estimates place the death toll in Lisbon between 12,000 and 100,000 people, making it one of the deadliest earthquakes in history. New England's Dark Day, May 19, 1780. New England's Dark Day occurred on May 19, 1780, when an unusual darkening of the daytime sky was observed over the New England states and parts of Canada. The primary cause of the event is believed to have been a combination of smoke from forest fires, a thick fog, and cloud cover. The darkness was so complete that candles were required from noon on. It did not disperse until the middle of the next lila, or night. For several yumim, or days before the dark day, the sun was viewed from New England, and some say it appeared to be red, and the sky appeared to be yellow. While the darkness was present, soot was observed to have collected in rivers and in rainwater, suggesting the presence of much smoke. For portions of New England, the Bukar, or morning of May 19, 1780, was characterized by rain, indicating that cloud cover was present. The Leonid meteor storm of 1833. Now, the Leonid meteor storm was seen across the United States in the Leila, or night, and early Bukar of November 12th and 13th, 1833. Those who were awake to witness the storm were in awe, as between 50,000 to 150,000 meteors fell each hour for approximately 4 hours. Denison Olmsted, a professor at Yale, wanted to know more about this phenomenon. However, he did not have much data to study aside from his own observations. As soon as the meteors began to disappear with the sunrise, Olmsted drafted a letter and sent it off to the New Haven Daily Herald, appealing to the public to send any information about the storm. And this, of course, was taken from the Library of Congress website. Could this have also been amongst the birth pains of the company of stars in the shamaym being shaken and falling? Now, coming out of Chazun, Revelation 6 verse 12, the term megaseismos is used to describe the earthquake. Megas, a Greek word meaning great or large, and seismos, meaning earthquake or shaking. So together, a megaseismos translates as great earthquake or great shaking or large earthquake. In any event, this is a massive event that is prophetically announced. Now, there are various interpretations of this based on other scriptural references or scriptural witnesses, which we have used earlier in this presentation. We believe there will be a literal shaking, which has begun already in various forms and will continue to intensify. And so they will get worse and worse and worse. Some believe that this is symbolic or representing major political, social, or spiritual upheavals rather than a physical earthquake. And this view suggests that the imagery is meant to convey some profound changes and chaos and a shaking in particular structures. But let us know in the comment section what you think about these utterances. Do you believe that this seal is a physical, natural disaster that has never been experienced before, never seen before? Or do you believe that this is symbolic and it's more of a metaphorical reference of something else? Now, in verse 14 of Chazun chapter 6, there are various natural disasters that can cause massive shock waves of moving air and wind. We talk about hurricanes that may cause clouds to race. We talk about pressure waves. We talk about volcanic activities that may follow the seismic activities of earthquakes. So massive volcanic eruptions and other eruptions, maybe the earth cracking open and things, the smoke and the soot and the ash and everything coming up. It could also represent a possible nuclear or atomic explosion or even a blast wave, because we must remember that the previous seals have not been closed and war would still be ongoing. Now, the possibility of these natural disasters stirring up because the earth is groaning, and it's as though there is one natural disaster after another, and it coordinates with mountains and islands being moved out of place. Earthquakes, massive earthquakes, can cause the earth to shift, land masses to shift. Tsunamis can cover land masses and give the impression of particular land masses disappearing, moving out of their place. Volcanic eruptions also have mega seismos, great shakings, and so what we may be seeing here is an unprecedented disruption of weather patterns and natural disasters because of the wrath of the Most High. In verse 15, the cataclysmic judgments unleashed terrify mankind, and no one feels immune to the disasters that strike. Disasters striking in the shamaym and also on the arads. Every rank and file of society is panicking. Sovereigns are panicking, great ones, generals, rich ones, poor ones, those who are enslaved, those who are free. Nothing exempts those listed from suffering the right rulings of the Most High. We see where heads of government, statesmen, wealthy CEOs, industrial giants, scientists, influential figures will flee to the mountains and hide among the rocks. We hear of a lot of bunkers and caves that people are trying to invest in for some sort of coming disaster of some sort. However, in that yum, the powerful will be powerless. When the intensity of the birth pains gets even closer to the return of the Mashiach and the Most High's right ruling, all will be powerless to withstand his right ruling. The wealthy will not be able to use their money to bribe their way out of this. The influential figures can't persuade their way out of this. No form of science can be used to alter or turn it back it will be cataclysmic. The wrath of Yahuwah is there. Now, as we close out this particular seal, we see where the response of these individuals indicate that knowledge does not always lead to the belief in Yahuwah. Knowledge of Yahuwah does not always lead to belief in Yahuwah. We see where the writer of Rumaim chapter 1 stated that the heathen had enough evidence in nature to know that Yahuwah exists, but they did not turn to him in belief. The writer says they are without excuse. Although they knew Yahuwah, they did not honor him as Elohim or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking and foolish in their hearts. They were darkened, and even though they claimed to be wise, they were fools. And of course, Yahu in chapter 17 would have declared in verse 9 that the heart is deceitful above all things. The heart is deceitful. We encourage you, if you have not already turned to the Most High, to turn to him. Wake up, Yasharal, to who you really are. Return to the Most High, Teshuvah. Respond to the call. And as we close, realize that once a seal is open, it remains open. Each seal is added to the previously open seals, taking their toll, and they all greatly intensify as this world draws to an end.
So I shall make the heavens tremble, and the earth shall shake from her place, in the wrath of Yahuwah of armies, and in the fume of the heat of his displeasure.
Joel 1 verse 15 and 2 verse 2. Alas, for the yom of Yahuwah is near, and it comes as destruction from the Almighty. Chapter 2 verses 1 and 2. Blow a shofar in Tziyun, and sound an alarm in my dedicated mount. Let all the inhabitants of the Arats tremble, for the yom of Yahuwah is coming, for it is near. A yom of darkness and gloom, a yom of clouds and thick darkness, like the Bukar clouds spread over the mountains.
We are the Nazarene of Yahuwah.
And of course we say Akkad
Ahaba,
which means
one love.
And we thank all our viewers and subscribers, all the family of the Most High, for viewing today's presentation.